Just sit back and let its iconic magnificence roll over you.
That was said in my sex tape.
This week on Trees in Space, Jason and I watched the 1965 rated R Western for a few dollars more. I'm Nate, that's Jason, and welcome to this episode of Trees in Space. Jason, this is one of your more favorite movies, if I'm not mistaken.
As far as Clint Eastwood movies go, it's in the
I was
top.
just putting it in your Western category.
Okay, in my in my Western category, yes, it's top 5 of one of my Westerns. It's top 10 of one of my Eastwoods, and maybe top 50 one of my favorite movies, if that makes any sense.
It does.
Yeah, okay.
Oddly, weirdly enough, it totally makes sense.
I just I didn't know it was rated R.
Me either.
I mean, I watched it played. I could have sworn I watched it on TBS without any edits whatsoever.
Standards are different. I don't know. Do they have? I got nothing. I really got nothing here. This movie is definitely different than its predecessor. It seemed long.
Well,
very long. And
to be fair, it
some
was
time off.
It was 2 hours and 10 minutes around there, and the predecessor was just like barely an hour 35. It added 30 minutes to a formula that was perfect at an hour 30.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what was this one about? Do you want to tell the people?
It was about romantic.
Romantic.
I mean, that's essentially what it was. You don't know it, but goddamn, this movie is weird. The main character in this movie, the main bad guy, right?
Who was also the main bad guy in the first movie, but a different character, same actor.
He played his character of just hurt, like just you could tell he had emotional baggage, like something is just weighing on him and he doesn't really want to be alive. He doesn't seem like he does. Seems like he really doesn't care about much of anything, but then he like two faces out of it and then becomes this badass like dictator almost.
Mm-hmm.
It's insane. It's so well acted.
Yes, he does a excellent job of his part. I love how they show him having a drug problem. In case you can tell, he always sitting out there after smoking whatever. Like that wasn't just he was highly onto some drugs, some stuff.
I thought that was just cigarettes.
No, that one. But I think it's supposed to be marijuana, but I think it's not marijuana. I think it's like serious, like opium addiction. The way he would lay there, just laying back like that, thinking about his.
Fully just racked out.
Yeah, he was done. But I tell you what, when I first saw this movie, and I still can't get over it every time, is when he comes back, he gets released from whatever. He breaks out of prison and goes finds the guy that turned him in. And that guy got a wife and an 18-month-old.
Yeah.
And then you hear 2 gunshots. It's like, did he just kill the wife and baby? He just killed the wife. I'm like, this guy's a lot more hardcore than he was in the first movie. Different character, but
right. That is very on point for what you're saying, because this whole movie was a lot more gruesome than A Fistful of Dollars.
Mm-hmm.
And this movie, you have the man with no name, who
though they tell you his name in the first 5 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, but I can't remember what it was.
I don't either, and I'm sure if I because he's like someone was looking for this. He's like, yes,
Monco.
Clint Eastwood, Monco, because he's like someone else was looking for this guy. What was his name? He went by Monco, and then they show Clint Eastwood.
That's right.
See, like I said, these aren't really sequels to each other. I think they're very loose, like similar movies, but someone called it a trilogy. I don't think they really are.
Yeah, And then you have another bounty hunter, Colonel Douglas Mortimer, and
Badass.
I don't want to spoil it, but there is a crazy twist with his character arc.
I thank you that you said that because I've seen it so many times. It's no longer a twist to me. So to see it through a fresh eyes, like, oh my god, I can imagine how that, especially for a 1965 movie. You see twists all the time, but it was you're a good man because for saying the twist, like a surprising twist because I didn't think about the twist part.
Yeah, and oh my god, I there's so much I can spoil about this movie that I don't want to go.
You can spoil a little bit of it, just don't spoil the twist.
Eastwood cannot get away from Van Cleef at all. Like he warns them, hey, you don't want to go that way.
Mm-hmm.
I suggest you go this way.
Mm-hmm.
And then the dude's like, no, I'm gonna go that way over there.
Yeah.
And then he's like, all right. And then all of a sudden, some bitch, he's over there having some bread and stew. Like, how the fuck did you find me?
Exactly. Or like when he's like, okay, because they were going to work together, both bounty hunters, and they decided to work together. And then Clint Eastwood goes, no, it's over now. We're not going to be buddies no more. And so he shoots him in the neck, so it looks like he's part of the bank robbery thing or whatever. So Clint Eastwood could actually get into the gang and be trusted. And I'm like, that guy's badass because Clint Eastwood's supposed to be the star of the movie, and he is. But he's not the best character. Van Cleef, the colonel guy, he's the better shots. He has the bigger arc. He has the storyline. He has a purpose why he's doing what he's doing. Like Clint Eastwood was just a bounty hunter.
Yeah, he's just there for money.
Right. And I think they all did. I really like the hunchback guy. I really think we need to have more hunchbacks in movies.
There's a high demand for that type of role out there.
I don't know, but he goes head to head with Van Cleef in the bar earlier, and the fight don't take place because he's talking about lights his damn thing with his. Then he meets him down in Mexico or whatever. He goes, light right thing again. He goes, I smoke after I eat. Come back in 10 minutes. And he goes, you'll be dead in 10 minutes, and boom, and he kills the guy, and the main bad guy goes, who are you? I'm the guy that can open your safe. Without blowing up. Yeah. It was just, and at that point in time, when you first watching this movie, you don't know if you can trust him or not. You don't know if who's going to betray who. You have no idea.
So, I'll tell you what it's like when you first see that scene. You gotta be freaking kidding me. Of course he can open the safe. Why couldn't he open the safe? He planned the whole thing the whole time. That son of a bitch. Like, that's exactly what you think when you see it for the first time. You want any other answers to how it's like?
No, I'm glad you said that. I thought the cinematography was great. I thought the writing was wonderful.
The score.
I really appreciated the way Clint Eastwood and Van Cleef's characters met up with the shootout or in the road. Clint Eastwood shooting his hat.
Yes.
And then after he got far enough away where Clint Eastwood's gun couldn't reach as far because the
range wasn't as good. Yep.
So he pulls out his and shoots Clint Eastwood's hat off his head and keeps shooting it in the air. I'm like, okay, he's showing that he's the better shot.
Here's my dick. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah. And that was and they're shooting the apples off the tree.
Yep.
I mean, that was, and those three guys are gonna fight, and then I saw those guys shooting apples off the trees, and they just started backing away, doing any of that. I really do appreciate it. I think I think I enjoyed this more than the first one back when we watched the first one. But I don't know, I might change my mind.
I definitely will say that I actually like the first one more than this one.
Yeah. Well, it's a little long, the second one. And the third one is 3 hours long.
Oh my god. Yeah, I don't know if I want to watch the third one. I feel like I probably will at some point. if you want us to watch the third one, that depends on you. So watch this video, share it with your friends, like it, put a comment about what you thought about the movie. If you aren't sure if you want to watch it or not, stay tuned to the end because we'll tell you what we thought about the movie.
Absolutely. Matter of fact, we're going to let you tell us. Next Clint Eastwood Western. The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, or Pale Rider. One's 3 hours long, one's an hour and a half.
I know which one I would rather watch.
One was made in 1967, one was made in 1987. So you just tell us.
Speaking of you telling us, let's get into what the audience thought of this movie. Our first 5-star review coming from Logan T. Awesome story, awesome main character, awesome partner, awesome villain. What can I say? This movie is just awesome.
Logan, I agree. Get at the source. You have a computer at your fingertips. The 1 star or less that was made up because nobody rated this 1 star.
They're few and far, very few.
Non-applicable or unknown is what I'm going to guess that's supposed to be. The sequel to Fistful of Dollars isn't so good. That's fair.
Yep.
It's not as good as A Fistful of Dollars, but
no, I thought the music was better.
Yeah, I mean, the cinematography, all that kind of stuff, like the movies, they were made the same, so all that's equal. It's the storyline that changed that makes one better than the other.
David W. says, one of the greatest westerns and frankly movies in general yet made. Only really edged out from the best western ever by The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And Unforgiven, the acting, direction, score, editing, and script are all so on point that to criticize them seems simply churlish.
The more you know is coming up on that one.
Just sit back and let its iconic magnificence roll over you.
That was said in my sex tape.
Oh, yes.
Oh, Lord. And I think The Good and the Bad and the Ugly is considered one of the greatest, if not top 5 westerns of all time, if not the greatest western of all time, because it is 3 hours long, so it's an epic. You know,
why does it be 3 hours? Is it worth 3 hours of time?
If you like westerns, you like Clint Eastwood, yes. But if you're just average with both those, then probably not. It's one of those things you'd watch for an hour, you go, I'll watch the rest of it in a week. Watch it for an hour, and if you're gonna watch it. But first time I watched it straight through. Second time I watched it, I had to break it up because I already saw it all. It's like Dances with Wolves. My next 1 star, NA. Shit boring sequel to the rather good Fistful of Dollars. Okay.
Yeah. The last 5-star comes from an unknown. The last 10 minutes are perfect. The beginning of the end for the Western.
The last 10 minutes were pretty damn iconically awesome.
But yet, they said it was 5 stars. And that's the review.
Yeah, good point, because it's 2 hours. So the 2 hours before that was just okay. You can't give, because the last 10 minutes was epic, give it 5 stars. I don't think you can. Yeah. I mean, he did.
Sexually, the first 5 minutes are the best.
Okay. I just know the romantic rapist. That's what we got going on around here. He's a romantic rapist. Remember that. Oh, I'm going to deep all those words out. That word is not allowed to be said on YouTube. You have to say grape. or surprise sex. So we have Ben James with the last 1 star or less. I generally enjoy Clint Eastwood movies. This one has to be the worst westerns I've ever seen. Poorly acted, and the story makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. And there's so many technical errors that I won't even bother trying to list them because you can't. Long, yes. Boring, stupid stupid something. I don't see that word. Stupid doesn't begin to describe the waste of this film. That's a very hard review. Harsh. It wasn't that crappy.
That came from Amazon, by the way.
Oh, okay, Ben.
Because I only could find 2 1-star reviews on Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay.
But here is the first review. It was a 4.5 star back on November 8th, 2003. I feel like I should. This is a long distance. I can't do it. But boy, what an interesting few days it's been. The thing is, it's very difficult to impart. Let's just say we drove around Dallas, Arlington, Fort Worth looking for trouble, crashed out on ugly girls' couches, threw a lackluster party with a bunch of Koreans, took some tests, and got mixed up in a sexual intrigue is all more interesting than it sounds. Trust me. In other news, I finally
I want to
found
see that movie.
B for a few dollars more on DVD. Something that I've looked everywhere for. I saw it recently on Spike TV, but it sadly, get it? It's saddled, get it, with commercials and chopped to full screen. The last time I saw it before, that was when I was 6 or 7 years old, it being the first Western that I can clearly remember watching. I remember my dad explaining to me why they were called spaghetti Westerns, and that in all 3 movies, the Dollars trilogy, that Clint Eastwood had no name. So here's to spaghetti Westerns, or macaroni Westerns, as they're known in Japan.
Oh, I'm sorry. We done? Where am I?
I want to know what the beginning of this review was about. I want to know that story, like you
I
said.
want to see that movie. I said,
Yep.
like an ugly girl's couch, just lackluster party with a bunch of Koreans, and got tested. What'd you get tested for, dude?
And a
I got
sexual
nothing to say.
intrigue. Yeah. Let's go ahead and see what Rotten Tomatoes and the audience scored this movie. Not surprisingly to me, Rotten Tomatoes gave this movie a 92%, while the audience gave it an 84%, which I feel is a little low, but still pretty
I
decent
think
score.
it's nostalgic, older movies to like a movie like The Godfather, Godfather 2, which I've seen all 3, and we're never gonna watch it on this channel because I'm not watching a 2.5 hour movie that I do not like.
I've never
I'm not a
seen
fan
it.
of any of those movies. People's the greatest movie of all time. And what, you know what? We're not reviewing that. I'm just saying shit movie. So, but I would probably give it 2.5 trees for that movie just because it's The Godfather. When it probably deserves a stump.
Well, I will go ahead and kick off. I feel like this was the second Western I've ever watched. It kept me intrigued. It was a little hard to understand at times, but that's to be expected. I will give this movie 3 trees and a stump.
Wow. I didn't expect it be that high actually from you. But I liked before, I remember thinking this was a better movie than the first one. But now that I've watched this again, because like I said, it's been a while since I've watched them both back to back like this. I can't. The first one was better. It's a superior movie. Probably because it was a little shorter. So I'm pretty sure I gave that one 3.5. If you choose one stump, I'm going to give this one 3 trees.
Well, there you have it, folks. We gave our review and our ranking of For a Few Dollars More. If you enjoyed it, if you didn't enjoy it, then please don't do this, or do it anyway. Like us here. Make sure you share it with your friends and your family. Follow us on TikTok. It's trees_in_space. I've been Nate. That's been Jason. We'll see you Monday morning, 7 a.m. for another episode of Trees in Space. Of Trees in Space.